So one of the events we're going to get for first anniversary is that there will be an SP Select banner. So let's talk about whether or not it's worth summoning on that banner, and if so, who should you choose? Now, I think it's going to be a bit of a no-brainer that everyone's high priority, first priority during anniversary should be the Camel Duel. So you want to go out on SP Hoshimikura as well as Hiragami, who will be coming 2 weeks afterwards. And I would say that those two are probably the two best characters in the game, and it's actually going to be worthwhile for you to go and get the dupes as well, especially for SP Hoshimikura. His skill rating 4 is absolutely amazing when you play him alongside with Hiragami. So I do actually highly recommend for you guys to do that. So what that basically means is that if you do not actually have enough resources, well, let's say if you do not have enough resources to guarantee those two characters, I think it's fair to say that you wouldn't want to touch the SP Select banner at all. Okay, so that's going to be very, very obvious. If you're on low budget, if you do not have enough resources to guarantee those two characters, or potentially even go for some dupes on those characters, let's say to skill rating 2, then you shouldn't touch the SP Select banner at all. However, if you're actually on the other end of the spectrum, let's say if you actually have saved out enough resources to go to skill rating 4 on SP Hoshimikura, there's actually something interesting for you guys to consider, which is actually utilizing the pity system for the SP Select banner. Now, there is something we do have to confirm when the SP Select banner is out first. So this should be the number one thing you do on day one, which is that once the banner is out, we want to check whether or not the pity counter is going to be the same as SP Hoshimikura's banner. Okay, so for example, here right now for Osamu, I can see I have pity in 49 pools. If SP Select banner also says 49 pools, then that basically means the two pity are going to share. So basically, I can summon on one banner, and the pity for the other banner is still going to reduce. However, let's say if the SP Select banner start off with a fresh new pity saying that you can only guarantee in 140 summon, then once again, in those kind of scenarios, you do not want to touch the SP Select banner at all. Okay. However, hypothetically, which is the way I think it should work, is that the pity will be sharing. And let's say if you do actually want to go for skill rating 4 on SP Hoshimikura, what you probably realize is that in order to actually get SP Hoshimikura to skill rating 4, you are likely going to, depending on whether you have any milk available beforehand, but let's say if you do not have any milks, it's very likely you may have to go, 480, 600 summons, etc., just to actually get that character. And the rewards after 360 summons is going to go significantly downwards to the point that it's probably not really worth it. Now, a lot of what people have been doing so far is actually going to the event section to buy a chain pack, because basically if you actually buy this chain pack, what's going to end up happening is that you would then actually end up with an SP milk dupe, which you can then use on the character, and that's definitely a valid approach. However, with the SP Select banner, there's actually going to be an alternative approach instead, which is that you actually want to summon on the SP Select banner in order to reduce down your pity. And the way this works is because the pity are actually shared between the two banners. However, if you actually take a look at the pool info, what you realize is that up to the first 90 summons, the rate for an SP card is really, really low. It's only 0.1%. However, once you have 90 summons upwards, the rate is going to increase exponentially higher and make it a lot more likely that you'll actually be getting the character. So when you actually have two SP banners which are sharing the same pity, what you can do is for the SP Select banner, you use your first 80 summons on that, because the pity with the rate of getting that character is still going to be quite low, so it's going to be quite safe, and you can actually reduce the pity on SP Hoshimikura's banner instead. And then once you hit the kind of the magical 90 summons mark, what's then going to happen is that the rate is going to get a lot higher, and then what you can then do is go and switch over to SP Hoshimikura's banner to utilize the higher rate for those. So even though you may still be end up doing 140 summons in total, because you'll be spreading them out across two different banners, essentially what that allows you to do is you will be building up the cumulative rewards on both banners. And what that basically means is that, for example, rather than doing, let's say, 600 summons on SP Hoshimikura's banner, in which case the last 240 summon doesn't really give you any nice reward, what you are then able to do is actually spread it out. So you do, let's say, 240 summons on the SP Select banner, so that you get a whole free SP character as well as extra milk. And then whilst you still have your 360 summons on the SP Hoshimikura's banner, and that basically allow you to also get all of those dupes, because all of the higher rate summons should be happening on Kura's banner anyway. So all of your dupes theoretically should still be in Korra, and then all of a sudden what you're able to do is essentially generate a freebie incentive of 1 SP character as well as 10 extra milk, because you have switched 240 of your summons from those users reward onto a brand new SP select banner where you're actually able to get really nice rewards. Okay, so that's basically one strategy you can use to actually take advantage of the SP select banner so that you essentially get some extra reward for the same amount of summon. But this strategy really only works if you plan to do 400 summons or more, because if you actually do less than 400 summons, you won't even be able to hit 200 twice on both of the banner, and in reality 200 is kind of like the sweet spot, the minimum spot for summoning on banner for it to be worthwhile. So that's kind of why this strategy of summoning on SP select banner is only going to be valid for those people who are planning to do at 400 summons between the two banners. Now, I know something else some people may be thinking is that even though the rate of summoning a character for the first 90 pulls is very low, there's always a chance that you may be able to hit it, and that you may consider that as lucky or unlucky. However, to me, that's personally, it's going to be a quite low risk, especially if your plan is to already able to guarantee SP Hoshimi Kora, but just need to eventually dupe him up, etc. And the reason why I think it's really low risk is that, first of all, if you do actually get the character early in the first, let's say, 90 summons, you're already being incredibly lucky, so that's already a good thing on your behalf. And then yes, you may be missing out 1 extra copy on Hoshimi Kora in order to get him to, let's say, skill res 2 or skill res 4, but in all honesty, that's fine, because right now we actually have this chain pack system. Assuming this will be the case for every single banner afterwards, all you have to do is just wait 1 extra month, and then you'll be able to pick up a universal milk for SP character, and then you can just dupe up your Hoshimi Kora afterwards. Okay, so even if you are, unfortunately just missed out on 1 extra dupe because you got too lucky and summoned an SP character early, all that it means is that you have to wait 1 extra month before you can then actually get to the right skill resonance. And to me, that is not so much a risk. Before, back in the days, before this chain pack was out, you could argue that's a much bigger risk because you have to wait 4 or 5 months for the rebound before you can then actually dupe them up. But now with the chain pack, personally, I just feel like the risk is really low. So I personally do feel like if you have enough resources, I think it's worth the risk that you try it out and spread out your summons across the 2 different banners. And if you really actually end up hitting the character really early, then just consider yourself lucky that you got a whole free SP character on top. Now that we have established who should summon and take advantage of the SP select banner versus who should not touch it at all, let's talk about who do you actually want to choose if you do plan to summon on it. Now, we still don't know which character will be included as of now, but I'm going to make an educated guess that I will include everyone up to Kongagawa. And the reason for this is because Kunami was shown in the screenshot, and because those 2 are from the same scene, I feel like it kind of makes sense for both of them to be included. And then Oikawa, Iwazumi, Ishijima, those 3 initially just had a rerun banner like last month or so due to the Google Play issue, and the Winter Trio is obviously far too recent as well, so that's kind of why I don't think they would be part of the banner. So my personal educated guess is it will include everyone up to Kongagawa. Now, the other caveat you guys have to bear in mind is that we don't actually know what's going to be the rerun schedule after this SP select banner. Right now, we should have gotten the Aone rerun, but obviously that's going to be replaced by the first anniversary SP select, and we don't actually know exactly what's going to happen afterwards, whether or not it go back to Aone, or whether or not because the game already gave us a chance to pick up some of the later character, it would then jump straight ahead to Oikawa banner instead. We still don't know. I'm going to try to see whether or not I can get a confirmation from the devs, but knowing that this is literally like a month later, I don't think they probably planned that far ahead anyway, so it's unlikely we'll get any formal confirmation. So take this with a bit of caveat in terms of which other characters will be rerun afterwards. And personally, I'm going to treat it in the worst case scenario and just imagine it will be the last chance for you guys to get those 11 characters right now for a very long foreseeable future. Okay? Now, with all of that being said, what's going to be the priority in terms of which characters you want to pick? Number 1 priority is definitely going to be Kunami. Kunami's skill resonance 2 effect is just far too strong. It's one of the best ability in the game, able to give stamina even when you're on the bench. And because this also requires skill resonance 2, this makes him a very safe character, I guess, for you to summon. Because even with the strategy of spreading out your summons across 2 banners, there's always a chance where you can get unlucky or lucky, depending on how you look at it, to actually get your SP select character early, even at the lower rate. However, because you actually need skill rating 2 on Kunami anyway for him to work, it doesn't really matter even if you got lucky/unlucky to get an extra copy of him, because you still need copies for him anyway. And even if he does get a rerun banner in, let's say, just 2 months time, it doesn't matter because you probably need to summon that again anyway, just to get the remaining copies to get him to skill level 2. So that's kind of why I do feel like Kunami is going to be quite safe choice. And if you do not have him already, he should be your #1 choice as the SP select recruit target. Okay. Then for the next tier of characters, I'm gonna say you can make a decision between Aone, Suki, and also Kuro. Suki and Kuro, they're just very universal character and also very good characters by themselves. They also have great synergy and will be even stronger in value once Hiragami is out as well. So that's kind of why those two are definitely worth picking up for. Even if you can only get one copy, which is the whole idea of hitting 200 to get that free copy, those are still incredibly strong characters to have on your team. Aone is slightly different. Aone is not actually that good in your team. However, he does have this ability where he's able to have a bench effect where as long as he has served, he would then be able to increase your attack and defense technique for your whole team by 5%. And essentially what that allows him to do is you can use him as a pinch server to literally just get a free 5% attack and defense technique buff for your entire match. So that's the reason why it's very strong and also very universal as a pinch server point of view. If you actually get him to higher skill resonance, can be even better. At skill resonance 2, this can actually increase up to 15% if you actually use him as a pinch server. And at skill resonance 4, he can get another 25% buff to all of your block stats as well. So that's kind of another reason why even if you got lucky/unlucky, or if he will have a rerun banner right afterwards, it's still a relatively safe choice to pick him up as well. And obviously Suki and Kuro, if you manage to get extra copy on them, they're just very good characters, so that's always a nice thing anyway. So yeah, so for me, those three are probably all equal, just kind of depend on what you're looking for. But those are the next tier of priorities that you can go after. And then afterwards, I'll probably say the next tier priority will be Nishinoya and also Konagawa. Konagawa is mainly, Konagawa is very good, but only in a block specialty team. So this is going to be mainly down to what type of team you actually want to build. If it's block specialty, then Konagawa is one of those cornerstones, which you absolutely need to have. And that's what makes him attractive. And then for Nishinoya, he's a liberal, which has its own merit because right now there are only 2 high-level liberals in the game, and that already makes him very valuable to pick up, especially if you don't already have a high-level liberal or high-rarity liberal already. The only problem is that we should be getting a free UR character as part of first year anniversary as well, and if that's the case, what you can literally just pick up is that you can pick up Komori instead because he's classified as a UR character, even though he's just as strong as SP character, and that's kind of why, even though Nishinoya, I personally think he's very good, I just think like he's going to be a much lower priority than all of the other SP characters due to the fact that you can just pick up Komori instead if you need a really strong liberal. Okay, so and as for the remaining character, personally I feel like they're all kind of like off meta choices. Hinata is still very strong, but eventually he will be power crap. Like I feel like the next 1 or 2 months are probably going to be the last time you will see SP Hinata V1 before he then be power crept by other quick spiking characters, etc. So that's kind of why personally I feel like all of the remaining characters are going to be an even lower priority than everyone else. Okay, so just to recap, #1 priority should definitely be Konami if you don't have him already. Then #2 priority would be a choice between Aone, Suki, or Kuro, depending on whether or not you want someone as a bench server or whether or not you want someone to actually be on your team, etc. And then the third tier of choices will be either go for Konagawa if you want to go for block special team, or go for Nishinoya if you just want another very strong liberal and for some reason don't want to go for Komori instead. Okay, so yeah, so those are going to be my thoughts on the SP Select banner in terms of whether or not you should summon for it and also for who. Let me know what you guys think, and also do you plan to take advantage of this banner, and also who would you aim to go for?